let me start with a confession. I am a productivity dropout. Stephen Covey, Tony Robbins, Brendan Bouchard, David Allen, Jack Canfield, and honestly, too many to list. But here's the thing. Maybe you are a productivity dropout too. And there's a reason for this. Our brains are different. This shows up in all the neuroscience, all the research papers, but rather than get into all that mumbo jumbo, let me give you a much easier to understand analogy. So think of motivation like a plug. And what happens is a lot of us say, I just need to get motivated. I need to stay motivated. But we actually don't really want motivation for its own sake. The reason that we want motivation is because it leads to action. And so you take this plug, you plug it in, and boop, light comes on. Now, here's the interesting thing. We actually have two types of motivation. We have near-term motivation and we have long-term motivation, long-term incentives, all right? Now, here is the challenge. With ADHD, our near-term incentive works great. We're like, chocolate bar? That sounds good. Our brain translates that motivation to action, right? The challenge is on the long-term incentives. With ADHD, it's like this wire is just really garbled. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. So what happens is, no matter how much you just shove this plug into the wall, no matter how much electricity you run through it, you don't get into action reliably, and that puts us in this really weird place. Tell me if you've been here. You want your goal desperately. You desperately want to start a business, get yourself organized, move forward with your life, stop feeling behind all the time, and yet you can't get your brain to work on it. Have you been there? I have so many times. It's infuriating. So here's what we're gonna do is rather than follow the self-help mainstream neurotypical advice, which is just asking us to just try harder on the long-term incentive, we're just gonna leverage what works. So our near-term incentive works, and I'm gonna share with you a process by which we can train our brain, rewire it to leverage what already works to get the same outcome. Would you like to know the formula to be able to do that? Well, in this video series, I'm going to share it with you in the form of 3 main secrets. The first is how you can access on-demand motivation. So this works for even the most boring tasks without pumping yourself up, reciting affirmations, or getting a new brain. Secret number 2 is I'm going to share with you the trick to being consistently productive, even if you lack willpower and have never stuck with anything before. How many of you are like that? All right. And then the last secret is how you can find 10,000 to 100,000 and frankly a lot more, even if you're unemployed or broke. And when you put these together, that's going to take you to the land of ADHD success where you can get your business started, you can get organized, handle your retirement, do all sorts of things. And this isn't just me saying it, okay? So what sort of results could you hope to achieve with this formula? Steve found $19,200 a year by finally asking for a raise once he had that. How many of you would like an extra 19,000? Jennifer didn't lose her job, which is worth a lot of money. Tassia was able to launch a blog and create content for social media while working full time after being afraid to do it for years, but wanting to. Toxie was able to get his business profitable again, rather than thinking that he'd have to leave as CEO because he wasn't effective enough. A. Larson was able to make more progress in 3 weeks on her voiceover business than she had in 3 years. Cool, right? Estella is an amazing illustrator and artist and has been wanting to write a book proposal for 3 years, and using these tools was finally able to do it. And Scott was able to get a $100,000 salary increase after recovering from burnout by using this formula. So are you excited? I hope you are, because this is pretty cool. And that's what we're going to share in these bite-sized video series. So if you are interested in learning this, come with me to the next video and we're going to dive into this formula, this framework, and get right towards secret number 1, how you can access on-demand motivation so that you can get the stuff done that you need to. See you in the next video.